All right, so day 21 of going through my journal entries. The quote for today is, "I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not." Have you ever pretended to be something you weren't? If so, why? How did that make you feel? What did you learn going through that? So if you're following along, go ahead and pause the video here and take a few minutes to answer the question, and I'll be back on here in a second to read out my response. Okay, so let's see what I said. Have you ever pretended to be something you weren't? I think, so here's what I said. I think there have been times that I pretended to have more confidence than I really do, or maybe times that I tried outwardly to be outgoing or funny, and it would generally fall flat. There's been a couple of times that I've tried to be more like some of the outgoing, fun, attractive, popular, hot girls that I would see on social media, but that's not me. So in some instances, it made me feel even more shy and introverted, either during or right after the experience. There were some times that I did feel like I was having fun in the moment, but looking back, I'm quite embarrassed by how I acted because it's not the person I am or really want to be. It's also why I'm a bit afraid to try things on social media. I've seen some people try trendy things on there and it looks fine. Others look so awkward that I cringe. I feel like I would be one Oh, I feel like I would be one of the ones that people would cringe at. I don't know though, like I felt awkward at times pretending to have confidence, but what about stepping out of your comfort zone? There's some element of pretending in that, and if you don't push yourself, you may miss out. So what are you supposed to do? You know? Yeah, so I guess this is just about me being insecure. Um, I don't know. I guess the main things that are coming up for me when I read this in terms of having false confidence and just going are, public speaking type of things. And another thing would be working at Disney, because there were a lot of, I've talked before about how I did like the college program at Disney, and I spent probably like 2 whole years pretty much working at Disney and in different roles, and almost all of them you have to interact with guests, and you're kind of putting on this, like, I don't know, it's really weird um to describe working at Disney, because on the one hand, I started to say like putting on this facade of being happy, but really it's not much of a facade. At least it wasn't back then. Like, I don't know how things have changed now in terms of what it's like to work at Disney. I think they've got new ownership or new like CEOs since I've worked there. Um, and I've heard that things have changed quite a bit since the pandemic stuff. But at the time, it wasn't a bad place to work. Like, I mean, well, here's the thing, you weren't getting paid much. And now I see that they were, well, I'm getting off track, but basically, it wasn't a bad place to work. Like, it's to their benefit to keep people happy while on the job, because if you're happy, you're more likely to have better interactions with guests. And so, there wasn't really much of an acting like I'm happy when I was working at Disney, because for the most part it was an okay job. And but there was like, I hated having to do magical moments. Like, those were the ones I felt like the worst, the most awkward. I don't know if they still do it, but when I worked there, I think it was like the 50th anniversary of Disneyland opening, or something. There was like a 50th anniversary of something. And so to celebrate like this anniversary, they rolled out this cast member program where we would have to do magical moments. And you would like pick a get like the point of it was like it had a good premise, but like I don't feel like implementation was a little bit easier in some places than others. So they would have you um choose a guest and do something special for the guest, which sounds great, right? But like for instance, I worked in the parking lot at one time, and like how special could you really make a guest, in the parking lot? And so their magical moment was we had these like golf carts. And so like one of our magical moments would be to pick a guest and like drive them in the golf cart to like where they were parked. But it just, most of the time, it just went like very awkwardly because people didn't know where they parked, or they felt awkward like riding on this cart. And it just, thank goodness there was this one guy that loved to do the magical moments, because I hated it, but he was very like outgoing and whatever's, and he liked to like have something outside of the normal work to do and talk to people. So that was great for him. For me, it was like really awkward. And there was another place I worked at, one of the theater shows, and you'd want to call out a guest and do a magical moment. It was just like awkward. But I would like have to like build myself up to like, oh gosh, it's time to do a magical moment. And I felt like it was awkward, so maybe my awkwardness made it more awkward. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, the main thing I can think about that is like I just pretend like I don't have a lot of, I do have some self-confidence, but not like a lot. Like especially like I said, when it comes to social interactions. So, but even when it comes to like my work stuff, I'm never like, this is 100% right. There's always, even when I was like in classes and I would always make like the highest grade on my tests, there was never a time that I left a test just feeling like I aced that one 100%. Like, even though I did most of the time, like there was always like this lack of confidence that, I knew the material well, and, I just did a great job on it. So, like, even I just took a test, my final for my other class, and for that I'm just like, well, I know I didn't fail it. I don't think I made like the highest grade, or I don't think I made a perfect grade, but it's done, but yeah, I think confidence is something that if I appear to have it, it's probably me pretending. So yeah, I guess. Oh, and the thing at the bottom is kind of like, I see a lot where I said, there's you talk about stepping out of your comfort zone and like kind of fake it till you make it. And I see a lot of people right now on social media, mostly like Instagram, doing that. A lot of them seem to be in like multi-level marketing sort of things, or it seems like they've got coaches or mentors and they're trying to become like life coaches. And I see what I perceive to be is quite a bit of fake confidence in that. And I think that's something that, it seems like, just based on my outside perspective, it seems like these different programs are training them to do that. Like, you just have to go, you just have to act like, law of attraction, imagine that it's already there. And I think that that could be good in some cases, but to me, it just feels too off for myself. Like, I could see how it could work for some people, and I've seen where it has worked for some people. Like, they took on this persona of them being successful or whatever, and eventually that happened. But I don't know, for me and for some of these people that I'm seeing, like, it just seems so, it comes across as fake. And I don't know, like I was trying to say, like I see this fakeness coming across, and so I'm hesitant to do the fake it till you make it, or trying to be confident in something that I'm not, even though I don't have confidence in very much. Like, because I've seen it in other people and I can recognize that it's fake. So I don't want people to think that about me. So I don't think there's a need to pretend for me anymore. Like, I don't know. Is there a need to pretend for anything? Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you're sad or upset, maybe it could be beneficial just to keep situations calm, to like not let your emotions show. But I don't know. I think overall it's probably better to just be genuine and real. And that's what I meant by like at Disney. I didn't really feel so much like I was pretending most of the time. Um, because it was, you know, at least the places where I worked, it was genuinely kind of fun and a fun place to work. Whereas, you know, there's been instances where I was a server for a long time and sometimes it was fun, but sometimes it wasn't. And you had to kind of like come out there and act like, you know, everything is good. And I would say like the worst job I ever had was Walmart. And I don't know that all Walmart stores are like this, but at least the store that I worked at, I was expecting it to be something similar to Disney because they're both like major companies. But the training and the support that Disney at the time was giving to cast members versus what they did at Walmart, like, you wonder why people at Walmart aren't friendly and happy because they're not paid enough to do that, and they're not only are they not paid enough, because I think you can pay people enough. Like, I think that's why serving is a little bit different, because there's that monetary incentive to be happy and to be nice and to be friendly because your tips depend on it. But at Walmart, you're not getting tipped, you're not getting, you know, you're making a low wage and you're not getting the support, at least at my store, you know, from management and things like that, that would incentivize you to want to act and pretend that you're happy. So I don't know. Anyway, maybe that went off on a weird direction, but that's what I had down for that. And yeah, so I guess I will be back later with day 22.